co-branding. And in co-branding, we want to look at mainly what co-branding means, but also what are some of the relationships to marketing. And mainly, we're saying that co-branding simply means combining two existing brands in a product or marketing campaign. It is effective when the product quality is difficult to assess. So co-branding, in simple terms, we're looking at how uh, in one product you're putting in two different brands, or you're putting in two different uh, shapes and for example, if you're doing if you're offering probably a service such as a reproductive health service, co-branding would mean that whereas you're doing one test, the possibility that you are also marketing a particular other test. Say if you wanted to mobilize your clients to access HIV/AIDS testing, as a brand, you also include that for every HIV test, the client also accesses a tuberculosis test or a TB test in that regard. So, in other words, you're doing co-marketing, but also you're doing co-branding. Co-branding meaning you're doing for the product, co-marketing meaning you're doing for a marketing program. So, what are some of the cause-related marketing? One is that are a partner with a cause and donate based on customer purchases. So what you need to do is that you need to communicate clearly and share campaign results with customers. When you're doing co-branding, it is always relevant that you're doing co-branding with a product or a service that is not a competitor, because then if it is a competitor, there are chances that you when you co-market, the consumer may prefer the other products compared to your own product. So when you're co-branding, you should be probably making the same product, the same quality, and therefore you engage in your own costs as the manufacturer, and then you know that because you're sharing costs, it is possible for you to still co-brand. So what are some of the don'ts? Choose a cause irrelevant to your brand, just as I stated. Secondly, don't neglect your own marketing needs, but also do not disregard the effectiveness of the charity, and don't ignore employee perspectives. So when you're doing co-branding, it is relevant that you pay attention to what your clients are giving you as an option, even if it is in terms of the coloring, or it is in terms of service provision. If you are offering your clients, say, particular diet for those particular students who are doing dietary, but also those who are offering reproductive services, if your clients or your employee per se, your staff, offering a certain perspective in which you can be able to co-brand, say they are discussing the issues of the modality of implementation. Probably they are suggesting aspects of using a local language, or using community members who are probably associated to certain religious aspects. It is only fair that you do not ignore those perspectives. But as well, it is also important that you look at the activity you're conducting, and you offer a charitable service, in that people who are utilizing your service should then be able to benefit in one way or the other from the service that you're offering. So licensing. Well, when you're looking at licensing, Licensing means you're using another brand's trademark for a fee. In other words, this has been more monopolized to authorities, such as government authorities, but also there are some trademark unions. So, in other words, when you're discussing licensing, you're using someone's trademark but at a cost. For example, if you're using a government bureau that standardizes the products in a particular country, you will pay a particular fee for them to be able to license you to offer that particular service. But also similarly, if you're using a private organization, for you to be able to put that logo, or for you to be able to be certified as a producer of that particular product or as a service provider, it is important that you bear some of those licenses. So if you do not have a license, there are chances that you may not be able to get clients to seek your service, because most times people want to see whether this particular product is licensed by the relative authorities. Celebrity endorsement. You need your product to be endorsed, or when you're talking about endorsement, you're referring to acceptability. In other words, that there are people the society sees as their role models. So, as a manufacturer or as a service provider, it is very relevant that you engage these people, because if there is celebrity fame, then you are able to promote your product. Say in a society where you want mothers to deliver in the health facility, or where you're offering immunization services to the children, it will be fairer in a society that has more Christians, that the mobilization for going to an immunization post comes from the Christian leader, say the priest, or say the church leader in there. But also similarly, in a society that is traditional, it is only fair that the traditional leader, say the king or some person who is seen in the community as as a traditional person, is the one who communicates to these people, and there are higher chances that they will be able to listen. But also celebrity goes ahead in terms of the, the target group you're looking at. There are chances that you may be looking at youth, and therefore, for when you're looking at youth, they may be more associated to people such as the musicians. They may be associated to people who are dancers, or they may be associated to celebrities at their perception. So it is only important that as well you look at it from that point of view. So the benefits are that there's always increased awareness and positive association, but also the risk is that you may have an overuse and mismatch with brand image, because sometimes people may start to associate these brands to those particular celebrities in there. Then there's also sports sponsorship. You need to associate with a sports team or event for brand exposure. The factors are that they need to be the level of exposure, but also there is TV spectator coverage, there is team quality, advertising opportunities, exclusivity. So, what happens in sports sponsorship is that you're able to offer support to a certain team. We have seen it in elite leagues in the world. For example, in Europe, we have seen in the British English Premier League. Uh, we have companies such as uh, Fly Emirates, an aeroplane company that sponsors huge clubs in the UK. But also, we have seen some trademark organizations such as Ineos, and they are using sports in order to increase their visibility. and also the coverage. Because what happens is that these particular sports events have got a very wide coverage all over the world. Say the Premier League is watched all over the world, and therefore the level of which it has a coverage of people, it gives an upper hand to that brand called Fly Emirates. It gives an upper hand to that brand called Team Viewer, because there are very many other people, even us here locally in Africa, who focus more on those particular brands that are abroad, and that is as a result of sports. So the brand product matrix represents the relationship between brand lines and the category extensions. And the importance is that it helps in managing brand portfolios efficiently. So when you're talking about brand product mix, in other words, you're looking at how the relationship or the interaction between your product aligns with the brand. Most times, that is why you're seeing food producing companies, their products are associated to bottling. For example, it is rare that majority of the companies use maybe a box or a Cavera-like aspect in order to cover or in order to manufacture foods that are liquidified. Most times, the preference is that liquid foods are more in a bottle or in a circular branding. Uh, and that is what we're discussing. That your product, the product that you're making, should be aligning with or should be having a relationship with the brand that you're using in there. So, what are some of the principles of brand portfolio management? One is that the principle of maximizing coverage while minimizing overlap. But also another principle is of employing multiple brands in a single category for market coverage. So if you look at companies that are producing, say, food materials such as the sodas, for those who are offering dietary, you need to look at the principle of brand portfolio management in regard to the different foods that companies are producing out there. You'll realize that this is Mirinda, but there is Mirinda Fruity, there is Mirinda what. So there are different other brands. There are multiple brands in a single category, meaning they want to have a larger amount of the market covered, because you know that the market depends on the theory of taste and preference of the consumer, and therefore, as a producer, you should work as much as possible to have multiple brands, but in the same category, so that the consumer's tastes and preferences can then be satisfied. We also look at it in aspects of reproductive health. For example, there are those tests that can be done using microscopy. There are those that can be done using the RBT. There are those that can be done using PCR. But this is the same. This is the same test. This is a malaria test, or this is a HIV test. But what happens is that they are offering multiple brands. You can decide to use an RDT, or you can decide to use a microscopy to get that particular test that you want. But also similarly, you're seeing that in the production of painkillers or paracetamol, you're able to see that different companies who are in the single category of producing drugs that are called painkillers, you'll have different brands, like I discussed the other time. You'll have someone having Panadol, you'll have someone having paracetamol, you have someone having extra dough, but all these are drugs that look at one single cause of handling pain in an individual. So, what are some of the designing? What are some of the strategies for designing branding? One, you need to look at your target audience for each product or for each brand. And this we have spoken over and over throughout this module, but also the desired brand image and awareness at each level. So after looking at your different target audience, it is only important that you design your brand according to those particular targets. If you're making a product and your target interest is female or is women, it is only fairer that you brand your products in a shiny color or in a color that is more shouting, say in a pink mode or something that is relatively feminine. Uh, Similarly, if you are targeting men, then you should be having something that is dark colored, because those are some of the preferences that happen. But also, as well, if you're offering reproductive health services, the desired image is that if you wanted male involvement, or if you wanted men to accompany their women for antenatal care, it is only fairer that if these for you to attract more men to escort their women for antenatal, it's only fair that you fasten your process so that the lines are not long, the queues are not long, but also so that the process is not long, because it is associated with inpatients at the health facilities, because men most times prefer to attend issues that are quicker in that regard. But also another strategy is that you need to have a cohesive and clear communication across all brands. And we even discussed earlier on that communication is very paramount regarding branding. And therefore, you must be able to give in cohesiveness. We mean that you should be able to give information that relates with the people. We earlier said that if you're manufacturing a certain product, it's only fair that you also include uh, the local language, that you do not only write your branding in languages that are not privy to that particular target group. It would be fair that the information is cohesive in that it is in the local language that your target group understands. Another strategy is that you need to do effective linking of the brand elements to the relevant product. So when you're branding, if you're making chocolate, then it is only fair that on your chocolate branding, you link, in other words, you draw probably a photo of that particular product that you're producing. So that is the linkage that we want. What are you producing? So then what is the way of branding? So you cannot produce say a liquid product, then on your branding you have something that is drawn in a solid way. That may be a mismatch, and that may not bring the linking in within those products. uh, what are flanker brands? Brands in similar product categories are targeting different consumer segments, what we call flanker brands. For example, a fertility clinic launches a separate brand focused on family planning services, addressing specific needs and sensitivities of this segment without diluting the main brand's image. So, in other words, you're offering uh, you're offering similar products, or you're offering products in the same category, but you're looking at a different consumer segment. For, for example, in a fertility clinic, the main, the main, the main aspect that a fertility clinic would be looking at is that people should be able to come for fertility services. However, you're seeing contradictively, they are again bringing an issue of family planning. So that is what we call a flanker brand. You're targeting another segment, but you must be very sensitive that what you're targeting in family planning does not dilute your aspect of the fertility clinic. So that is what is very important. If you're offering HIV services as your paramount brand, then if later on you're offering probably cancer screening as well, then it is important that you do not dilute the aspect of HIV testing because in Flanker's brand, we are actually looking at a coexistence of those two products that you're manifesting. So the consideration is that you need to ensure clear differentiation from the brand from the parent brand in messaging and visual identity. So if you are in a fertility clinic and then you're offering these family planning methods, it is only important that you clearly state and message people that here is a family planning method or service, and then this other side is a fertility clinic. So it needs to be very clear. So the aim is that it helps to prevent cannibalization, and it expands the market share. Cannibalization means that you're feeding more on one product, yet you could actually do what we referred to last time uh, as the one-stop center, where you can actually go to a particular health facility and you're able to get a range of services. So that is what we want to look at regarding the flankers branding. So low end entry level is again another term that we want to look at regarding branding there, how to build a strong brand. In low-end entry level, we are looking at products allowing customer entry into the brand franchise. For example, a high-end fertility app launches a simplified free version with basic features to attract budget-conscious users and potentially convert them to premium subscribers. So, in other terms, we are looking at you want to look at a variety of customers. Uh, the low entry, meaning that you are looking at customers who initially may not be able to join your premium brand. For example, if you were joining some of the academic sites, for example, academia in Google, they will first give you what they call a free trial. And in this free trial, they will allow you as an end user probably to use this particular product for about a month. Then later on, you might be able to pay for that service. So that is what they call low-end entry. So you will offer in this regard, if you were having a fertility app on your phone where individuals or clients have to pay, you will have to offer a free version app for these what we call the low-end customers, so that they are able to interact with this particular product that has basic features. So then it can attract them to convert into premium subscribers later on. So, what do you have to consider? The consideration has to be that you ensure the entry level offering does not compromise the brand's core values and quality perceptions. So, in other words, when you're offering an entry level, it is only fair that you as well keep reminding those customers that at a certain time they might have to come up with a certain amount later on as they continue to use this particular product. So that is referring to low end entry level in the products. So what is high end prestige brand? It means you reinforce and upgrade the parent brand position. It adds credibility to the brand portfolio. For example, a reputable women's health clinic launches a luxury concierge service offering personalized fertility treatments and premium prenatal care. And that is what you're able to see. In some countries, they call it private health service. Sometimes even it has this high-end prestige brand has crossed over to the transport sector, and you're able to see sometimes that there are buses or there are transport companies that have buses that are running from the low end up to the high end brand. You might have a bus that is for classic, then you may have that one that is premium, then you may have that one with luxury. But also we have seen it in the marketing of entertainment, where you have the ordinary ticket, where you have the VIP ticket, and then you have that of the table, probably VVIP table. This is high end now. You're looking at customers that want specialized service and personalized service, and that is why you need that premium care. But what do you have to consider in high end prestige branding? You need to maintain consistency with the parent brand's values while emphasizing exclusivity and personalized attention. So, most times, these high end prestige brands mostly look at the possibility of having a personalized experience. So you need to maintain that consistency and what your parent brand stands for, and that is one of the most important considerations. If if in your parent branding first interface at this woman's health clinic is by first doing registration patient for the tests, then the person later goes for the therapeutics. Even when you have a high-end prestige brand, it is only important that you maintain that consistency and that kind of they call it that kind of protocol. You need to maintain that kind of protocol for all those levels so that there is a consistency in your quality. So, what are some of the strategic roles, other strategic roles? You need to increase shelf space, attract new market segments, and foster internal competition. Internal competition meaning that even among the employees, you should be able to offer internal competition. Then you need to look at more target groups. That is another way through which you can be able to increase your market segment and attract new target groups. But also, you need to yield economies of scale in advertising, sales, and distribution. Economies of scale meaning that as a result of adverts, as a result of sales and distributions, you're able to get that other benefit as a result of that expansion. And an example of this strategic role is that, for example, a condom brand launches a line of flavored and textured condoms targeted at younger demographics, expanding shelf space and attracting new users. So this is one of the examples I was giving you the other time, that, for example, a company that is producing condoms, at the end, yes, we know that that particular product is being produced for they are targeting probably sexually active individuals, probably a large sense of them. However, they are producing particular flavored and textured brands for what they look at as young people, or what we are referring to here as the younger demographics, so that we expand the shelf space for and attract these new users. So what are some of the considerations in there? One is that you need to manage internal competition effectively and avoid conflicting branding messages. So you need to attract and put your message effectively. Whereas you may be having a different flavored and then one that is not flavored, you should be able to avoid conflicting the two brand messages. It is just giving you another example of beverages that are being produced by the same company in the names of soda. So you may not, even if you produced a soda of another brand, say for example, the common example is Coca-Cola. There is Coke Zero, then there is the other Coca-Cola. When you're doing your advert, it is important that you stick to that kind of internal competition and avoid conflict. You may brand another message that is against Coca-Cola, then clients may shift to Coke Zero, which may not be effective in that regard. So what is brand architecture or hierarchy? It summarizes branding strategy and ordering of brand elements. Two, it determines the hierarchy and relationship between different brands or products. So the example is that, for example, a family brand like Healthy Choices encompasses various sub-brands for specific products. For example, yogurt, frozen meals. So, in other words, when you're looking at architecture or hierarchy, it may be a broad aspect, but in that regard, there are other practices or products that it looks at. A brand like Proactive Plus Advanced Strength may indicate a refined version of original Proactive Acid treatment. So you have been able to see people putting certain things as Curam or Plus. Uh, Probably initially they had a version. This is more common in in this is more common in electrical appliances and phones. You will realize there's Techno this F1 probably. Then after they have an upgrade, a refined version, Techno F2, or you have seen Samsung Galaxy S1, Samsung Galaxy S2. So that is the architecture, or that is the hierarchy. And it is always known that sometimes as the hierarchies increase, there are more features that are added. Even in the computers, there is always Windows this, Windows 7, Windows 10, and these come with different features as well. So in designing branding strategy, you need to identify which products to offer and under which brand. But also, secondly, you need to determine the number of levels and relationships between the brands. The same brands, the same hierarchy we are talking about. What is the relationship between Windows 7, Windows 8, but also what is the leveling? and what is that unique feature that you're adding in there. Awareness and image is another aspect. You need to define the desired brand perception for each level, and therefore you don't clamp the image and the awareness for those different brands. Thirdly, combining elements need to integrate visual identity, messaging, and tone consistency. So these are more of architectural aspects. You should be able to look at visual identity. How does your target audience look at my product? Can they identify with this product? For example, if you're producing a product and your target is the traditional people, can you put a color that rhymes with the traditions of that place? Can you put colors probably people are associating with? For example, that your product has the national flag of the country. For example, that your product has probably a traditional logo of that particular cultural institution that you're targeting with your message. So those are some of the branding strategy or techniques you need to look at. But also you need to link your brand with the elements. You need to link your product. Strategically, you need to connect the brand elements, the slogan, the logo. The other time when we were looking at branding elements, we said you need to have a good logo, you need to have a slogan, you need to do your coloring, all those elements of branding that we looked at, we need to link them so that they are closer to each other. Then we need to look at the corporate brand as well. It needs to always be present on the packaging because the corporate brand is actually what differentiates your product from other people's products. And therefore, it is probably very important for you as a brand manager or as that individual dealing with the product for you to realize that your corporate uh, brand must always be there at every packaging. And an example we are looking at is that a non-profit organization known for advocating for sexual health education might use its corporate brand on all materials and campaigns, regardless of whether they address contraception, STIs, or adolescent health. So this establishes a unified identity and promotes trust across its diverse initiatives. So in other words, your product package or brand must be appearing in all the services that you offer. So if you realized yourself as probably a behavior change initiative, let us say your non-government organization is behavior change initiative, then whether you're offering contraception services, whether you're offering sexually transmitted infection care services or adolescent health services, it is only important for you that your company brand is associated as well. So what are some of the considerations in that regard? You need to ensure that the corporate brand image aligns with the overall values and missions of the organization. But also you need to maintain consistent visual identity across all materials. So your logos, your branding must be maintained across all the products that you're producing. For example, these organizations or these football clubs, when they are making their logos, say the club badge, you will see that it is consistent against the ones for the fans, the ones for the players, the ones that are replica. So it is always across, and that is what we are referring to as maintaining a consistent visual identity. So family brands support several products and it is flexible in communicating benefits. But individual brands are restricted to one product category. and it allows for customization. So it is very important that you often look at family brands. For example, that you will see that the organizations that are doing the bottling will be in a family with the ones who are manufacturing those particular drinks. The example is that a company that is offering various fertility treatments, for example, intro vitro fertilization and IUI or egg donation, could use a family brand like Fertility Solutions to encompass all these services under one umbrella. This emphasizes expertise and the breadth of offering. So your company, because you're dealing in a reproductive health services, it is only important that you name your company in a broader aspect or in a family brand. For example, so and so bottling companies. So you are bottling for every other company. In other words, for example, here we are saying fertility solutions. Then you're saying healthy eating. So you're not looking at one food product, but you're looking at a breadth or a wealth of different services that you're offering. And the benefit is that the flexibility in messaging and promoting different services with the same trusted brand name, because you're offering reproductive health services. The importance is that you'll be offering family planning, you'll be offering HIV testing, you can be offering antenatal care services, you can be offering breastfeeding counseling, you can be offering nutrition or balanced diet for breastfeeding mothers. So all those are reproductive health services that your family branded, and that gives you an advantage that during marketing you can actually market different products from the same name or from the same brand that is well known. Then, when you're looking at individual brands, it refers to marketing strategy that uses different brand names for different products or services within the same category. The example is that the same company might create individual brands such as intro vitro fertilization for excellency, or the egg donation network to cater for specific needs and audiences. This allows for targeted. Okay. So what you need to consider in implementation of individuals is that you need to balance the benefits of each approach based on the marketing goals and the target audience. But also you need to avoid brand confusion by ensuring a clear differentiation between family and individual brands. So if you're offering a family branding, you very well know that all those other services that you're offering will lie under your family name or your family brand. However, if it is an individual brand, you are only offering HIV treatment services, and therefore you will end there and not mix them with different brands. That is key to consider. Then looking at modifier brands, it highlights specific items or model types of a product, and it signals refinements to a product. That is why I was discussing the issue of electrical appliances and phones, where you see that there is a modifier brand one, probably Techno 1, then Techno 2, Techno 3, and the refined products keeps increasing. And in a reproductive health setting, we may look at an example of a menstrual pad, where it might introduce a sensitive skin modifier to highlight this specific feature, attracting customers with specific needs. This signals product refinement and caters to diverse preferences. So, in your service, you may introduce, if you were offering family planning, counseling services, you might as well in your family planning counseling include issues of mental health. And therefore, when you're marketing, even when you're marketing family planning, you will include it that it comes with a package of mental health well-being. Or if mothers attended antenatal care services, it may come with a physical exercise plan. So those are some of the modifier brands that may come, and as a result, your service may attract different people because of the modifications that you have made. Then the consideration is that you need to use modifiers only when they offer a genuine benefit and differentiation. And you must avoid too many modifiers that clutter the brand message. So you don't need very many. For example, you always see in Windows, if there is a Windows upgrade, they will tell you it now has a clearer font. It has many other fonts that have been added. But also you may realize in the aspect of phones, they will tell you that they have added its random access memory, or they have also added the camera version, and it is a little more important. So I think I've had a wrap in that bit, and I would like to give time for us so that I would like to end here the recording, and then probably someone can let us have a discussion that I had suggested the last time regarding those particular theories that we looked at, so that in our next meeting we can be able to look at brand portfolio vis-a-vis architecture. And I think the slides by then will be a little lesser than what we're covering. So I think that far, unless we have any other questions regarding what I have presented, or we can have comments regarding what I have presented, then I will give each one of you an opportunity for those who looked at what I suggested that we look at, to share what they found out. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the lectures. These have already guided us on how best the intention or the meaning of the branding. Of course, we have been going through all the branding process right from yesterday and today. We have been talking about branding. I think this has helped us on how one can able to plan in future. If somebody wanted to do something, then this will be an opportunity for us as a guiding principle. One example, as you mentioned, on the issue of fonts, we see here like the Galaxy. We see the Galaxy 10A. It has come to 23, 24. It's going ahead. So this is how things are being upgraded, and you find that through this process of upgrading, the other model that will come, it will come with a lot of improvement on it. Then the next one which will come, it will come with a lot of improvement on it. So this is also when we are planning to do our services. Our service should always be full of improvements, especially when we are maybe when we try to integrate services. Like when you said, sometimes we talk about infertility, but there will be integration of services, like maybe HIV screenings, or this is very, very helpful, especially in terms of integration of services. Hello?
Yes, John. Thank you for that enlightenment. And I think from your comment, you've been paying attention, and I think that is important for that. So Like you said earlier on, the most important thing is that you need to relate branding and marketing in the aspect of reproductive health, and how
Mm.
you can be able to have that integration of the marketing skills that you've learned here into the principles of reproductive health. That is the most important aspect. So I just took us to that slide that had an addition, and I had thought that because I asked you people to look at it, I don't know if you looked at it. John or Joseph, were you able to look at those particular theories that I had asked you?
Yeah, actually, me, I've not been able to go through them yesterday because of my network. And then, secondly, I think last time when you shared the screen, my network was disturbing and I couldn't screen it so that I can do a research on it. So, sorry for the inconveniences.
Anyone who probably looked at it? John, did you look at it?
Um, uh, I did not really manage to look for it. We are going through some. We have some training here. I
Okay.
forgot it. I just remember now because I was having some training throughout this week.
Okay, fine. It is okay. We shall look at it subsequently, or we shall look at them maybe later when we get the opportunity.
Mm.
So, otherwise, if there are no more other comments, I would like to end there and wish you a good night.
Thank you.
So, Samuel, back to you. Have a good night.